Adobe crushes its biggest rival. Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much once again joining me for tea time. Today we have a little bit of fireside. That smokiness, guys, that smokiness. I hope you're joining me with your cup of tea, maybe a cup of coffee, hanging out, talking tech, talking photo, talking video. Today is a photo day. Adobe, crushing yet another company. This is what they do. They acquire or just put out of business companies that they just are not too fond of, let's say. Or they might be very fond of them and they'll buy them and they'll integrate them, let's say meld them into their company and then sell even more of what they're currently selling, which is for the most part a load of crap. I'm not a fan, before we even get into this, of Adobe. I don't like the way they work. I don't like the way they treat their customers. I don't like the way they create their software over the last 15, 20 years. Not that the software isn't good, but the problem with it is it's just never updated quick enough. And there's so many instances of software that they have. Perfect example is like Illustrator, where it is so old and outdated. It's just the UI, the way they put it together is just horrible. It is absolutely horrible. And I've been using their product, like I said, since I was in school for commercial art, advertising, design, photo, video, right? We've been using Adobe ever since. Well, I no longer use Adobe, just so you know. And if you want to follow me on that journey where I got rid of Adobe, it's called Life After Adobe, Cutting the Cord. I am the creator of that series. It's been around for a couple of years now. It was when I went cold turkey from Adobe and said, you know what, you're doing this whole pay in perpetuity, rent, never own, lease, never own. And I'm like, I'm not doing this, all right? I'm not doing it. I'm going to find alternatives that will do the exact same thing as their product and that will do it either free or will do it for a set fee. You're able to buy it. And then if you want to update in the future, you can. If you don't want to, you don't have to, right? Well, Adobe's made a ton of money on selling this lease kind of rental software. And that's what this is all about. Figma is one of their biggest rivals. They are massive. As of a couple of days ago, maybe a week or so ago, they have said that they're going to buy them out for a good substantial amount of money. But this is their biggest rival and they will be gone. So I was reading this over on TechCrunch. I want to read part of this article to you and I want to get your thoughts on it, all right? As I think this is very important. When I was growing up and moving into the photo, video, and tech space, right? All of the photo and video was done with Adobe right from the very beginning. And what happened is if you didn't use Adobe, the schools would say, you can't get a job. They would indoctrinate their students into having to use Adobe. If not, you will never get a job in the industry. And that is just not the case, especially today. We see products like Blackmagic's DaVinci Resolve that, in my personal opinion, crushes Adobe Premiere. That's my personal opinion. I just like it better. And for well over a decade, we would use DaVinci Resolve just for their coloring anyways. If you need to do color correction, any type of grading after the fact on any video, you would bring the stuff over from Adobe Premiere into DaVinci. Well, DaVinci's nonlinear editor now is probably as good, if not better. Their NLE, in my personal opinion, is the best. And it's free, which is even more crazy. But anyways, let's get into this article. And like I said, I want to know your opinion on it. Now, the title is Adobe Snaps Up Figma for $20 billion, taking out one of its biggest rivals in digital design. Both the Wall Street Journal and Bloomberg reported earlier this morning that Adobe was close to announcing the deal to acquire Figma. In the end, Adobe confirmed the news to coincide with its quarterly earnings, posted at $4.43 billion. Almost $4.5 billion these people made in Q3. Crazy, crazy. The acquisition is coming in a form of a deal of half cash and half stock, Adobe said, and it will also include 6 million additional restricted stock units granted to Figma's CEO and employees that will vest over 4 years subsequent to closing. It is expected to close in 2023, subject to the receipt of required regulatory clearances and approvals and the satisfaction of other closing conditions, including the approval of Figma's stockholders. Design and prototyping for individuals and teams executed in a very streamlined and modern cloud-based environment are Figma's product strengths, and it's amassed some 4 million users to date. Adobe, meanwhile, has been building and acquiring a number of businesses in a wider world of digital creation, and that it has taken, it's not just into the larger and more general reach of design, but also marketing and other areas adjacent to design in a longer creation chain. Adobe's DNA is in design, though, and it has built its iconic products in areas like imaging, such as Photoshop, fonts, illustration, video, and 3D, and more. The idea now will be to create a seamless connection between these and Figma, essentially building out as a native platform to bring all of them together. Adobe, of course, already had something like this in the form of Adobe XD. It is not clear what happens with that when this deal closes. Indeed, whether all this will raise the attention of antitrust authorities will be worth watching. Adobe is already dominant in so many of the tools that are used, and now will be the dominant player as well in the platform to bring in and provide all of these tools. Adobe's CEO said, quote, "Adobe's greatness has been rooted in the ability to create new categories and deliver cutting-edge technologies through organic innovation and inorganic acquisition." The combination of Adobe and Figma is transformational and will accelerate our vision for collaborative creativity. The co-founder and CEO of Figma adds to this and says, "With Adobe's amazing innovation and expertise, especially in 3D, video, vector, imaging, and fonts, we can further reimagine end-to-end product design in browser while building new tools and spaces to empower customers to design products faster and more easily." If I hear the term reimagined like one more time, I'm just going to lose my shit. It's like that term reimagine is just so... Anyways, that's my personal opinion. Just a slight vent. Reimagine. A $20 billion price tag is a sizable jump for Figma, last valued at $10 billion in June of 2021, when it raised $200 million. But Adobe is doing more than just taking out a big competitor. It's picking up a fast-scaling business. This is very important. The deal definitely lays down the gauntlet for other big names in the world of digital design. Especially, it will be interesting to see what comes next for companies like Canva or Sketch. There's a few others out there that I think are going to be interested in this. So my question is, what do you think? You know what I think. Should the antitrust authorities really take a look at this? Is this possibly something that needs to be stopped? How big, once again, can a monopoly become? A monopoly is a monopoly, but I think this monopoly seems to be getting larger and larger and larger through acquisition, just like Adobe's CEO was talking about. And I think a lot of that holds true. They are just simply buying out any and all competitors. Why? Because they're so massive now. Just think about $4.5 billion just in third quarter alone. I mean, it's not very difficult to buy out some of these smaller companies. Now, obviously, $20 billion is nothing to sneeze at. And I personally didn't even realize that Figma was worth that. I mean, I've used it before. I think that it's good, but $20 billion. I think a lot of that has to do with collaboration. Teams, I think, is what has really done it for them. Anyways, like I said, you know how I feel. I, got rid of all of Adobe products from my Mac as well as PCs 2 years ago. And once again, I created that Life After Adobe Cutting the Cord series. If you want to check that out, once again, check it out over here. Maybe I'll put like a video link or a playlist link over here. Maybe I did it already at the beginning of the video. Either which way, check that playlist out. If you are someone that uses Adobe on a regular basis and you're just tired and sick and tired of paying in perpetuity every single month, and you want to just simply buy something that is as good as what Adobe offers, or at least good enough to what you need, check out that playlist, because I reviewed just countless, handfuls, dozens of software to find the software that I'm currently using now, that I have been using for the last 2 years as a professional. There is so many professors out there that tell their students that, listen, if you're not proficient with Adobe, you're not going to be able to get a job. And it is not as much of the case as it was years ago. Like I said with DaVinci Resolve, for example. There is a lot of studios out there using DaVinci Resolve. Blackmagic's software as well as hardware is amazing, absolutely amazing. And once again, you can get it for free. And I did an entire video on that also in that playlist. Go check that out. Anyways, I want to hear from you. What do you think about all this? Down in the comments below, let's have this discussion. Antitrust. If you enjoyed this, even in the least, please throw this video a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and click this little button over here so when I go live and when a new video comes out, you will be notified of it immediately. And finally, head over to my website, JCristina.com, where you can find all the photography tools I've invented for you and me over the many years, and hopefully there's something there that you might like. And if there is, please pick it up and support me and my family. That's it, guys. I'm out of here for yet another vlog. Many blessings to you and your family. Stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll see you in the next one. Take care, guys. Love you all.